Many relationships face significant challenges throughout the many years that couples can be together. And that is especially amplified when couples are starting businesses together or working on incredible projects, raising families, or trying to change the world, right? And so, how do you stay connected or how do you rebuild that connection throughout that marriage? When you're committed to a long term relationship, challenges are bound to happen. And sometimes those challenges can be significant, especially when you're in a spousal relationship where you're building a business together or you're working on incredible things even separately and or you're trying to change the world together, raising a family, doing all of those things. So how do you emerge from those challenges or navigate those challenges and come out the other side stronger than you were before? Well, today we're going to turn the tables on each other and interview each other on Startup Spouses. Welcome to Startup Spouses, everyone, where we want to help entrepreneurial couples make their good relationship exceptional and mind blowing. And today we are going to do something a little different because this is a very special episode of Startup Spouses. Much like those old episodes of Family Ties where, they go in and they sit down together and there's a giant storm going on outside and they reminisce about the past and those previous episodes. In reality, those were lazy episodes, where they just didn't have any content. So they said, let's just grab all the content we had before and just patch it all together, right? Do you remember that?
Oh, yes, I remember that. And I was like, oh, no, flashback.
No flashbacks. And
Nope.
so we're going to do flashbacks in this episode, but it's not lazy by any stretch. The way we're going to do it, we thought it would be a good idea since, we're a few episodes into this thing. We thought it would be a good idea to kind of turn the tables on each other and start to interview each other. And in our own words, kind of talk about our backgrounds, how we got to where we are, and learn a little bit about each other. And so, how often do you get a chance to interview the person that you love? So today, Maria's in the hot seat. And I'm going to be asking her and peppering her with questions.
Ooh,
That's
this
right.
is going to be exciting.
It is. What are you expecting today?
I'm not sure. I know you're really great at interviewing. I think it's going to be harder for me when I have to interview you because you are so much better. You've been doing this for a long time. So, and I'm kind of good at answering questions.
You're good at answering questions? Well,
I
that's
think so.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's good. And I think and I'll say this, I mean, the idea that I think you're great at asking questions too. I mean, you're a very curious person. I think that's kind of how we have developed over the years within our meeting structure, and that's been great. So I'm looking forward to both of these episodes, and most importantly, I love talking to you and learning about you because even after 20 plus years, hearing these stories again for the first time and hearing it from your perspective is powerful, and you have quite a story behind you.
Yes.
You do. Not just in our time together, but even before that, and what you've learned and how you've grown.
I agree.
I think this is what sets, entrepreneurial people, couples, or people that growth-oriented individuals apart from maybe those that lean into those challenges and let them consume them is people like yourself. You want to grow through it and you want to overcome certain things, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's what we're going to talk about today. But before we do, I kind of want to get into what's been happening recently for us. What have been the key things that have been happening in our lives that have been moving us forward?
Setting goals is one of the things that and not only not only setting goals but going after them, because one thing is to set goals and get excited about them, but it's another whole new ball game to start taking action on the goals that I have for myself, knowing that I'm starting something new, and because goals are about trying something new, and or in improving myself, and knowing that it gets really uncomfortable when I start trying things new, and it's that discomfort that holds me back. Like I shouldn't feel this way,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I shouldn't be this way. And I feel so stupid learning something new because everybody's going to see that I can't do this whole thing. But
Right.
even though I'm new at it, like
Right.
you thought, I remember when I was younger and you thought adults had it all together and they knew everything.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Remember that? Like they don't do things that are new.
Yeah, that was a hard lesson to learn that, oh, yeah, adults don't have their shit together. Oh no, I have to figure this out for myself. Right. Yeah, you're right.
Even though my mom was actually getting her master's degree when we were teenagers.
Right.
And I bet you that was like going to class in school. It's something new, but I didn't see it that way.
Right. Yeah.
So, but now looking back, I mean, that was really brave of her
Right.
to go back to school, and actually pretty smart of her because that's pretty much what saved her job too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, it's a bit of foreshadowing, and I'm not gonna and we're not gonna share with you now what's happening, but we'll just tease that there's more to come on that front. So stay tuned.
So true.
Sometime we'll talk about how Maria's kind of going into that discomfort a little bit more and
Yes.
setting those new goals. But yeah, and I had a pretty gnarly week last week. Like there was a lot of speaking of discomfort, just a lot happening. And
Yes.
last week was one of those weeks as somewhat of a new solopreneur that that you wish for, that you pray for when you first start out. And then when it happens, it's kind of one of those oh shit moments.
Yes.
Because I had just a lot, like last week was just a full week of facilitation. We launched a new chapter called an energy chapter locally, which is for EOS centered companies in Denver to kind of come together and build that. And that was something that I and a fellow integrator named Tiffany Keegan launched. And by the time this drops, we're probably going to be a couple months into it.
Yeah.
Then I had 3 session days last week, which was just, I never thought that I'd have actually 3 session days in a full week. And then I was moderating a panel, which is the first time I've ever moderated a panel, and it happened to be on really the human advantage in AI. It was run by a company called Learn It that I'm actually helping to implement EOS for. And it's like hosting a podcast on steroids. Talk about like asking questions and being on stage in front of people. It was definitely outside of my comfort zone, but it was a lot of fun and pretty great. So yeah, things are moving with the, speaking of taking that action on the big goals.
Yeah.
Dreams are easy. Like dreaming is easy.
Oh yeah.
Executing is the hard part.
Oh yes. So you felt like pretty comfortable going into everything and last week, and even though you've done sessions before, you felt like confident and no worries going into this, right?
Absolutely none. Absolutely none. Yeah, because confidence comes before courage, right?
Yeah.
No. You have to have, I mean, like, it's that confidence gap we've talked about before. I mean, like, you're going to feel insecure and imposter syndrome and all of that BS, but it's really about just having the courage and just going for it. And yeah, and just doing the thing. Execution trumps vision every day of the week, because you can build that vision at any time. Just execute. Start executing. Start doing. Yeah. Any other thoughts on that?
No, well, kind of like just like leaning into that discomfort.
Mm-hmm.
It is so difficult for people. I get all the time, I could never do that. Like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, that's so amazing. Like, yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you can. You just have to feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And what level? I mean, I know before I start doing something, I get super uncomfortable. I start getting a little angry, just a tad, like, and I recognize that in myself, and I get upset, like I'll be clumsy, and like, why am I doing this sort of thing, and I need find a way out of whatever new project I'm going to do, and I find myself just feeling into that discomfort, saying I need to stop that, and it's every single time. Yeah, so it's kind of like recognizing that and understanding that and realizing that's part of the confidence level
Yes,
too. And
absolutely.
you realize afterwards, wow, that was really a lot of fun, and I'm
Yeah.
glad I did that. So
Yeah. How many times have you done something that you were afraid to do or intimidated by, and then afterwards it's just like this a tremendous relief and excitement that you did it. And yeah, so that's I think those are good like leading lessons from last week
yeah,
and the discomfort we're both pursuing in the growth of our respective businesses and collective businesses.
yeah.
We're in that discomfort zone and we're also in that growth zone. And
It,
there's no surprise that those two overlap.
Yeah, and you have to just sprinkle in a little bit of embarrassment there because even yesterday,
What is my fly open?
no,
Oh,
no, like the embarrassing part, and I'm the clumsiest person, and our son had an acting uh an
a job?
a job
Yeah.
yesterday. He had a job yesterday, and I was walking on set, and I wanted to be quiet and respectful. As I wanted to be quiet
Did
and
you
respectful.
walk on to the
I
Did you walk
No, I
on
did not
camera?
walk on. So, I knew to go behind the camera where all the actors were, and I wanted to behave myself and not do anything to make loud noises and stuff like that. But I was
You don't know
watching.
how difficult that is for my lovely wife, by the way.
So I was watching where they were taking all the other parents, and so I watched them, but I was very cognizant about people working there, and I wanted to get out of their way, so I stepped sideways, not knowing that I tripped over. I tripped over the track for the camera.
Oh yeah,
They have an actual track on the ground, and I tripped. I didn't fall though,
you didn't
but
fall.
they
Okay.
noticed.
Yeah, they noticed. All right. Yeah, of course they did.
Woo!
Yeah, well, that's
But
okay.
that's just a tad bit embarrassing. So
Should have made the commercial though. That would have been great.
yeah.
Oh well.
On
Well,
the computer.
on
Anyways,
that note, speaking, let's talk about let's dive into the interview, Marie. Let's dive into the
okay.
world of Marie Hill. Actually, let's dive into the world of Marie Kemptis.
Ooh,
Ooh,
scary.
that's I
I
know.
haven't heard that last name for a long
I
time too.
know because I hijacked your last name and made it my own. Anyway, go patriarchy. Anyway, I'm just kidding.
You're gonna be Kemptis now.
What's that? Yeah, we could shift it over.
Okay,
Why don't we
all
just
right.
do? I think we should go.
Hyphenated? No, or just
No,
combine
just
it.
like take away last names altogether. Let's
Okay.
just be Adam and Marie. That's it.
Yeah, that's gonna get really confusing.
Yeah.
For
Eh,
people.
maybe, but anyway, back in the day,
Mm-hmm.
let's take it back to 1977 when good feelings and disco were on the turnstiles and the turntables, and in a hospital in Santa Clarita or Los Angeles or whatever area of town
Yeah.
that was in, a child was born
Oh my
named
god.
Marie. So tell us about how you grew up. Tell us about just kind of childhood in general, and let's start there.
Well, I grew up in the Santa Clarita Valley. Well, even before that, it was named like Valencia sort of area. I have two sisters and a brother, one younger sister, one and older sister, and an older brother. We grew up in the suburbia of Santa Clarita, and I thought things were very normal in our household. You know,
Didn't we all?
yes,
Somewhat.
I thought it was really normal too.
Maybe because it just our it becomes our normal. I mean,
Yeah,
when we're growing up,
yeah.
right?
So, growing up, both my sisters were very shy. And no, excuse me. I was very shy. My sisters were both of them were very like loud and got most of the attention.
And you were smack dab in the middle of this,
Yes,
yeah.
between the two sisters. Because my
Yeah.
brother was like 8 years older, so it doesn't really count.
And as I understand it, the middle child gets all the attention, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, no, well, I didn't want attention the way that they were getting attention too. So I was the very quiet and shy one.
So
Wanting
you
to
were
keep themselves.
fortunately not getting attention.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I thought growing up, I was shy. They call it back now. Now they call it social anxiety. So I was super quiet. Didn't have a lot of friends growing up. The friends I did have growing up were probably a little more on the challenging side. And then I stuck with my younger sister and, got in trouble a little bit too much.
You got in trouble with your younger sister.
No, with my younger sister. Yeah, probably I got a little bit more trouble. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So by the time I was just starting high school, and my sister comes home from middle school, and she starts talking about the fat-free diet sort of thing, like how that fat makes you fat.
Oh gosh, yeah, you
And-
remember that period of life where the fat-free craze.
Yes.
Where they took the fat out of everything and just stuffed a bunch of sugar in it.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Well, that hijacked my idea of, hey, why don't I start eating less and less and less? And so I lost a lot of weight. I started, bruises started showing up on my body.
How old were you at that
I
time?
was about 14
14.
years old. 14 years old. And so I just started not eating as much. And then I started dating a boy that was about my age. And I thought I had to be as skinny as possible to keep this said boyfriend. So
Yeah.
because not having as much attention when you're a kid, like all the other attention went to the other ones, and then you kind of shrunk away. That I sought it in different ways, like with boys. So
Yeah.
I started becoming more anorexic, and by the time I was 15 years old, I maybe weighed, I don't know how many pounds, probably in my 90 pounds, and and then barely eating, and so
And so this was anorexia,
this was anorexia.
And so
Definitely.
you would classify that as like you had an eating disorder.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, I had an eating disorder, definitely.
Yeah.
So
So talk about, can you just share a little bit, if you're okay with
Yeah.
it, what that looked like as far as how that showed up in your psychology and in your behaviors, like how was that showing up?
when I was young and I wasn't eating that much, the more I didn't eat, the more I didn't want to eat. It's kind of counteractive, and your call it body dysmorphia started showing up. And even though you could look in the mirror and you're skinny, I don't know, that's even a triggering word for some people.
Sure.
Because I recognize that, but you didn't feel that way. Like it was this hijacking system that the less you ate, the more you didn't want to eat, and when you did eat, you were actually very angry too, because you felt like you did not have that control.
So you were keeping control by not eating.
Yes. And everybody thinks it's all about control.
Yeah.
It's actually a brain disorder that they don't notice. So it's that trigger in your brain of your body is like hungry. When your body's hungry, it'll tell you, hey, you need to eat, and you get these hunger pains. But in actuality, with anorexia, for at least for me, because I can only speak for myself, when those hunger pains came, it was a sign that I was doing well. It was like a signal to my brain that I was doing something good
Right.
and not something bad.
Yeah.
So, because there's so much stigma about good food, bad foods, like people say that.
Yeah.
And especially telling a child that food is good, food is bad. Think about that, because if a kid puts it in their body, oh, I'm a bad person.
Right.
It's not like you're doing something bad. People don't come up to you and say, oh, I see that your room is messy. You're messy. They automatically say you're messy instead of this is a mess here.
Yeah. Yeah.
They automatically label you as a messy person or a lazy person.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious to know too how, because in the 80s, it was the fat-free diet craze, right?
And then the 90s became the waif-thin women,
Right.
and you were ostracized if you were fat.
Yeah. And now today, in today's world, there's an administration that's talking ad nauseum about the scourge of obesity by obese white men, by the way.
Yeah.
Interestingly. So I'm just curious to know how that narrative sits with you now, kind of knowing what you know and how you grew up and how we have, done battle with this disease, even since then with our own daughter.
Well, I think it's the recognition that what I know now is so much more than back then. And I've done the work to do that.
Right.
Because I did not like the place that I was in. I chose to grow in discomfort rather than stay in a uncomfortable situation. So by doing the work to move forward, I learned a lot. I don't expect everybody else to learn. I don't expect everybody else to know what I've got, what I've done, or me, because I don't tell everybody, hey, I was an anorexic growing up, and
Right.
oh yeah, and like I don't like just lay it all out there. So people don't understand this disease if they haven't been through it, and they don't need to learn it. So why will learn about
Right.
it? So
Right. So, well, and I appreciate you sharing it
Yeah.
too, because I think that it is kind of a silent, as we've experienced, it's a silent epidemic
Yeah.
that nobody talks about. It's easy to talk about the obesity epidemic, say the opposite end of it, but nobody talks about the equally destructive epidemic that is eating disorders.
Yeah.
And it all falls into that. We just ignore one over the other because, we all have our beliefs around that. But tell us how did you emerge from that? How did you did you, and how was that? How did that come to be where you became healthy again?
I felt out of control, so I decided to run away from home.
So
Because I
enable
did
the
not
game.
know, because as a 14, 15-year-old,
Yeah.
you don't know how to control things.
Right.
Like, so you act out. And of course, like, I didn't know how to ask for help.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think my parents didn't know how to help me
Yeah.
until I created a crisis for them to understand that, hey, this is a lot more, and this is how you can get help.
What do you wish your parents knew that they didn't know?
I didn't even know.
Yeah.
Like that I wish that they could recognize that things were, even back then, not a lot of people knew about anxiety and depression and eating disorders. So I know that they did the best that they could. As soon as I got home, I went into therapy. We went into family therapy, and then it went into me doing therapy. And thank goodness that the therapist I had really worked with me Otherwise, not so much with the anorexia, because I don't think they had enough. At least a lot of therapists didn't know what to do with that.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah.
And so so I know that you had a very positive experience with your therapist,
Yeah.
especially around the idea of your identity and who you would ultimately become,
Yeah.
and embracing more about that. How did she help you in that regard, or how did that relationship help you to become who you are?
I think because I was so shy and I really wanted to have friends and be in community with other people, that she encouraged me to talk to other people and lean into that discomfort. I think that was the first place where, yeah, it's going to get uncomfortable and you're not going to feel great about it, but you just say hello to somebody or have a small conversation with somebody else too. And then as I went in the world of dating, I felt so much more at ease dating rather than making friends,
Yeah.
because I don't know. I felt like that getting that attention made me feel good, like made me feel loved.
Right.
And a lot of the boys, I was sexually active at an early age, and not in that era where your parents really don't talk to you about sex,
Right.
and I grew up in a Catholic household, so it definitely was not. There's a lot of shame and a lot of, talking about sin involved in it. So my parents just put their blinders on and didn't talk about it. And then I said something to my therapist around 16, 17 years old. And she's like, "You like sex? That's great." And that was the first encouraging word that I've ever had from somebody, like an adult, saying, "That's great.
Yeah.
You enjoy this."
That's highly
Because
progressive in 1995
I seriously,
or whatever that is.
yeah, yes, it was very progressive.
Right.
And I'm grateful for that, because I could live into my sexuality and not have so much shame around it,
Yeah.
because even at my age, even if I didn't have that many friends, I knew I was probably getting called names behind my back, oh, like she's a slut, and those sort of things. Like, but for the most part, I was able to not listen
Yeah.
to that for some reason. Thank goodness. Yes, I would if somebody called me fat or anything other than that. I would be like, oh my gosh, I gotta stop what I'm doing, and
So you were selectively offended.
It was. It
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
I would really say that it was probably that. And
Well, isn't that interesting? I mean, like it feels like, you're able to, well, not able to, and I don't know how to best word this, but it's almost like you choose the offense that you're going to take to something. You choose
Yeah.
the things that you care about versus the things that you don't care about in terms of how we interact with other people. And was it, your therapist's encouragement of being more sexually positive that kind of made you not care about, other people maybe calling you a slut versus the, people that were attached to the idea of maybe your weight or something like that?
yeah, because I think because of the 90s and the way that they made women, shame them for being to be a certain size.
Yes.
That was more shameful than having a sex life
Yeah.
at that age, So I think that way overshadowed anything. And then having somebody who was an adult positively saying that,
Right. Right.
So
Yeah.
that helped.
That's interesting. And so then you kind of emerged from that, that experience. You found somebody who empathized and cared about you from your therapist. You, and And then how kind of getting into your young adult, we met when we were 19. I met you, I guess, probably not long after, you kind of were recovering from a lot of that.
Mhm.
How was that experience? I mean, just going to college, all of that. How was that world for you leading up to when we met?
Well, I went to a community college
Yeah.
prior to that. And
Yeah.
so I was very comfortable because I grew up around this college.
Right.
We I was on swim team, so I was very familiar about the campus. So I knew where everything was at. My mom taught at the school too.
Yep.
So I was very comfortable being there.
Hmm.
Um, so that was I was had more confidence being
Hmm.
at that school, going to that school. And then when I moved over to go to the University of Santa Barbara, it was a lot because I was stepping away from everything comfortable.
Sure. Yeah.
My
Yeah.
friends, family,
What was your purpose there? What were you wanting to study?
psychology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And why was that?
Because back then I knew that what I went through having anorexia, I always felt deep down inside the passion to help other people.
Mm.
And so that's the way I felt that I could reach other people was to help them with their disease of anorexia.
Hmm.
And so I wanted to go to school and so I could help other people who were going through eating disorders too.
Wasn't that interesting how that has come full circle?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. So yeah, go on with regard to, your experience, kind of UCSB, uncomfortable environment, wanting to study psychology. Yeah.
Yeah, I was coming in as a junior
Hmm.
was way different than maybe starting as a freshman
Right.
like, in your experience. So looking for off-campus places, not necessarily the dorms, and then luckily my sister's boyfriend slash now husband lived it was going to school there, so he helped me find like a place with roommates and wasn't was it was a block away from you,
Hmm.
and that was like the beginning of my experience at school. So
Yeah.
but it was maybe for the first few months it was quite terrifying for me.
Sure.
I felt so alone, and I would just go sit at the beach. Oh, that was sad. I mean, even just sitting at the beach, like, man, this is gorgeous up here, and I'm sad.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Well, it's an
'cause I feel
interesting.
alone.
Well, I mean, yeah, you say there were different experiences, but I felt very much the same. Like when I came into UC Santa Barbara, even
Yeah.
as a freshman, I felt throughout the whole college experience. I mean, I have nightmares still about college
Yeah.
because I was so lonely. I mean, that's where my alcoholism developed, and that's where my kind of unhealthy habits developed. But I was surrounded by this beauty, and I almost felt guilty because, like, look how beautiful this place is, and I feel so depressed and sad and misaligned.
Yeah.
And I don't know, is that kind of how you felt?
It was difficult in that aspect. Like,
Yeah.
you not only are feeling these emotions, but you're feeling guilty for having the emotions that you have. So
Yeah.
you can't quite move through them.
Did you feel like it was like you were holding on, trying desperately to hold on to who you once were?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that, trying to find my confidence level,
Hmm.
and I knew when I lived in Santa Clarita, like I had some confidence and
Yeah.
I knew who I was, and I was starting to be very like into myself, being able to have this level of confidence and growth mindedness and project that in the world. And I knew what I wanted.
Hmm.
And then I get to a school where I don't know anybody
Yeah.
barely and felt so alone that dipped. So, and then on top of that, learning things that you don't know,
Right.
that it was, and then on top of that, you're not allowed to feel that because you're in this beautiful, beautiful environment, and throw in alcohol into it
Yeah.
to numb all those feelings that you're trying to either ignore or feel through.
Yes.
It's
It's like the Homer Simpson quote is to alcohol, the solution to and cause of all of life's problems.
yes,
Yes.
exactly.
Yeah. So kind of fast forwarding, because I mean, I know that that was we've kind of talked about that in a previous episode of how we kind of how our relationship budded from there and became kind of what it was, and the challenges we faced with alcoholism and things like that. But I kind of want to just shift forward because to where we're immersed in kind of this livelihood of maybe our first phase of our relationship, right? I mean, and there's seasons of the relationships that we talked about. We talked about being on our fourth marriage
Yeah.
right now to each other. But how navigating that, you majored in psychology, you'd recovered from anorexia, you went through all these challenges early on, and now you have, a husband who's battling his own addiction. How did you navigate that, and why did you stay?
Wow, that's a lot. Like it, like even I even just took a deep breath because I knew who you were inside. I knew exactly who you were. I saw this beautiful person inside of you, and I was also anxiously attached.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I had an anxious attachment, so and I loved you.
Right.
So there's good things that made me stay, and there was hard things that made me stay, but a lot of it also when you were going through your own recovery in alcohol, that my mom had gone through it too.
Her own recovery from alcoholism.
From alcohol too. So I had somebody to talk to about it, and I knew going into, say, Al-Anon, that it wasn't something I knew in my heart if I left and decided to start new, that it was going to follow me.
Yeah.
Like I would do this again. And I cared about you that much that I saw you change and you grow, and that I knew for myself that it was important for my own growth that I needed to start doing something, because I felt out of control and tried to control. Again, there's that control thing.
Yeah.
Trying to control you
Right.
to not drink so much, that when it was gone and I didn't have that power, I felt out of control. So therefore, I started going to Al-Anon to help myself. I thought, at first it was, oh my gosh, there's just another thing I need to do for somebody else. And,
Sure.
and realizing going through those doors, it was helping me to help myself.
Can you explain what Al-Anon is for people?
Oh, it's for people who have loved ones who are alcoholics. They have Al-Anon to help them. They even do the 12 steps to do the process of recovering from themselves too. Of if it's enabling or have high, like trying to control, because a lot of the times the loved one who is married or lives with, or is in relationship with an alcoholic, that they try to control the situation.
Yeah.
Too. So,
Yeah.
and it feels so chaotic
Right.
too for them,
Absolutely.
because it's can't control. I can't control you. So
Right. Yeah. Well, and I think that, what I'm hearing too, and what we've talked about is that, so this idea of the anxious attachment or the codependency that we had back then led to us really staying together through that difficult time, which, is interesting because I look back on that, and obviously I'm grateful that we stayed together. I'm grateful that you stayed with me, and I'm lucky, that that's the case. But It's also, I guess it begs the question, like especially for those that are struggling with that now, and they might be hearing, well, here's a woman that stayed with her husband through thick and thin, through all that challenge, right? And it's like, well, knowing what you know now, like knowing being being if you were to have kind of injected that like that knowledge, that recovery from within Al-Anon, and that, I guess, that confidence, or that, I don't know what the word is, but what you know now, would you go back and tell yourself something different during that codependency time earlier?
Again, I think that I learned the lessons. I grew when I needed to grow. Would I have loved to have learned them a lot faster, the lessons? Yes. Yes, I would have loved them to
Yeah.
learn the lessons.
Wouldn't we all?
Would I have loved to have seen the signs when I do? But even if I tell people now, even though I know more
Right.
and kind of coax people, seeing what I see from the outside perspective and letting them, did they listen to me, or did they come to that decision? They learned when they learned.
Right.
And that's what a lot of what Al-Anon teaches you, is that you do not have control. You let go of control. You let go and let God in the situation. That's what they tell you to do. So that, because this person over here is living their own life.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting that they really, the same lessons are taught in Alcoholics Anonymous and Al-Anon. Two totally different things, but for the same purpose, but for different, the people who are seeing the different sides, but they have the same 12 steps. They have the same, perspective on change and lack of control, that none of us do have control, and we should be taking hold of the things that we can control and letting go of the things that we can't.
Yeah.
Yeah. So fortunately, I mean, we went through that. I got sober and everything went absolutely, totally great after
Oh,
that.
yes.
Yeah. Nothing else bad happened in our lives.
No, and we
Right.
lived happily ever after.
Right. Yes. So tell us, like, yeah, how did that evolve after? I mean, so obviously throughout that process, you were in psychology. You graduated with a degree in psychology, and where did that take you beyond that, as far as the your career was concerned, and then when we had kids, all that kind of stuff. How did that evolve over time into what you wanted to become?
I burned out in the end of our like getting our bachelor's. I did not want to continue with school because of the fact that I didn't feel any direction towards it. I didn't know where to go. I didn't feel like I was able to make those decisions.
Right, right.
So
So you didn't feel connected to the idea of being a therapist at
yeah,
that point.
first of all, I was burnt out, probably
Right.
because of the ADHD that was undiagnosed at the time.
Sure.
And I didn't know how to organize myself. And I was very shy, and I didn't reach out to figure out what would be the next steps before I left college. So to become that, I could have done that too. I could have been like, okay, what in the next steps? Where can I go from this? And then 3, I worked at a restaurant job where I worked with people, and I just was at like the end of it.
Yeah.
Like
You were
I was
disenchanted with people
people at the time
because of what
working
Chili's
with
taught you.
hangry people. And what's funny about that is people who are anorexic are also hangry.
Right. Sure. Yeah. You were
So
an
maybe
anorexic who worked in restaurants, which is, yeah,
that's the only way we ate in college.
yeah, it is. I mean, it was a good job, but yeah, definitely not a great way to to develop a love for people, working at Chili's.
So What did I do? I became a restaurant manager.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Because why not? Like why not lean in? Because that's the only I couldn't see a direction. Like I needed because we were poor. We're college students.
Right.
We need money. I didn't want to keep living this life of being poor and not having money. So here's a job in restaurant management. Like, why wouldn't I take that? Because then I could make money.
Yeah.
So instead of how many more years, 4 more years of going to school and realizing that I might not want to be here because it just hit to that point where it was like, I don't know if this is what I want after 4 years of not really working, not really learning about, psychology as much.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So
Marriage and family therapy. So.
yeah. So there's a bit of feeling lost. I mean, my story, which we'll get into, next episode,
Yes.
relates to that a lot. I mean, just like this sense of feeling lost, and it feels like kind of taking almost that path of least resistance when we were younger to get to grow up faster. Like the idea of like, okay, we got to get moving with this life thing, instead of like actually going and like connecting with each other, and like
maybe traveling
the world,
Yeah.
determining where we fit in this place.
Yeah.
But I think that those ideas. So walking around feeling lost in the idea that we were going towards a vision for something, God knows what. I think the vision was eventually like making some comfortable life where we could buy a house and just be okay with it, because that's what society was telling us that we needed to do. That's what our parents had told us that we needed to do. That's what all the signals we were getting, but we didn't feel aligned with that. Am I understanding that correctly? We just didn't feel really aligned with that, and our marriage suffered because of it.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I felt like we were both built a little bit differently. I don't think we had the normal high school experience of a ton of friends or, being in cheer and football and
The team spirit kind of stuff.
spirit. Yeah, I don't think that we were built that way.
No.
I think, and for a while I thought I was introverted. So, I thought I wanted to keep to myself, and I didn't need that many people in my life, and all I needed was you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe some close family members too. So, I just turned inwards and didn't trust people and became kind of depressed from it.
So when did that begin to change? Because I see you now, and I think people see you now as somebody who is a people person, somebody who loves people, somebody who loves outrageously and lives true to yourself, and is now growing in this direction of coaching and helping people in relationships and getting back to your roots, really, of wanting to help people to become their best. What changed?
I think what changed was right after you got sober and I started Al-Anon, and I felt the rug had been pulled out from underneath me because I didn't have that ability to control you.
Yeah.
And so where did I fit in this world? And so that out of controlness started dissipating into our marriage and relationship. And we fought a lot. We had a lot of issues. I got depressed a lot. I got anxious. I would yell at you. I would get angry. And then you're like, you can't continue this way anymore. Like, you really can't continue. Like you came to a moment where I felt so out of control that you were afraid for me, which is really sad, was afraid for our children too.
Right.
So that was a really gut punching moment where I was like, I need help. I need to figure this out. I want to help myself. And I kept moving forward. I was like, okay, I need to find a therapist. Maybe I need to get on some medications to work through whatever whatever I am going through.
Right.
So I really looked for a therapist, and I found out that I think like the discovery that I might have ADHD, like it was hard for me to think of that because I'm like, yeah, it's overdiagnosed. Everybody must have it, but in my heart of hearts, I knew that even understanding that I had this and that a psychiatrist is like, yes, you are not crazy. This is what you have. That in itself made me feel so much more better.
Yeah.
Like understanding, like I did not have to mask. And that masking was so heavy that it was so heavy that I couldn't be myself, that it made me so frustrated and angry inside. And that was boiling over
Yeah.
because I tried to be this perfect, quote unquote, person who had everything together and, was perfect.
Right.
Perfect wife, perfect marriage, like that I didn't have any issues. So that was so heavy for me, and just being somebody else, just be sitting there saying, it's okay. Like, it's okay. Let me help you. And we worked through that. And was it easy? No. I mean, it was trial and error with stuff. And then I kept learning about different modalities. I went to a therapist. I even did the Tony Robbins stuff that
yeah.
actually, like the Unleash the Power Within. It's not even like that helped me so much. I was not depressed. I knew I have anxiety. Anxiety still lives with me, but
Sure.
depression was not part of that equation anymore, because a lot of people who are like me, who are women in their 30s, when I was in their 30s, presented with depression. Of course, it was depression because they didn't want to be seen like they didn't have everything together. Like, it was so much harder for me to keep juggle all the balls, that I was sad
Yeah.
of trying to do that all the time.
Right.
So working through that, and then I feel like I kept leveling up in areas. And then I started working in real estate and having to be with other people and having to talk to other people, really facilitated my communication skills too. So that really helped on that front too.
Yeah.
And being able to understand other people.
Yeah. And seeing that change from my perspective, I mean, that's definitely a reality. I mean, seeing the shift, you talk about, Tony Robbins being part of that,
Yeah.
and there were these like moments, especially with you, where it was a specific transformational experience, and then like a level up that
Yeah.
stayed there and it didn't come back down. Like a lot of people might just do like a weekend retreat, it'll come back down eventually, or in our workplaces, we might have like a team building event and then it'll go back down a
Yeah.
week later. It doesn't stick, but these things stuck with you. Like you did the thing, you transformed, and it stuck.
Yeah.
And it leveled you up. You shed that skin and you move forward. Tony Robbins, I think, was a part of that. Maybe so was therapy, and then obviously the more recently with the podcasts and things like that, where we started looking more at how our relationship could blossom, and things like Sex with Emily and our sex positivity and reconnecting and things like that. How did that come to play into that?
It was, I mean, we have teenagers, and now we're feeling more comfortable, like looking at each other, like, who are you?
Yeah.
Like, who are you?
Yeah.
Like, hi over there.
Hello.
So, I think that after our daughter got sick, and she was sick for 5 years, and I kept I came to you, I think I came to you, and I said, because I was like, the mortality rate of this disease is super high.
It's the
Like,
highest out of any mental
yeah,
health
it's one of the
disorder.
mental health disorders.
That's
So the
important to
mortality,
note, by
it's
the
like
way.
yeah.
I mean, just putting a pin in that, and for perspective, we talked at the beginning about this, about how much emphasis we put in this country and in this world on the idea of the obesity epidemic, and we do not talk. We put zero to nil resources into the mental health disorder with the highest mortality rate.
Yeah.
Tell me how that makes sense.
Yeah. It doesn't. And
No. So
nobody's
Robert F. Kennedy, why don't you put your task force on that? Sorry, go ahead.
but it's not going to make any money. Anyways,
It won't make any. You're right. There's no money in it. Follow the money.
so I'm glad you're very passionate about this
Sure.
because it's we've had little to no help with it.
Yeah.
It's not my sponsor likes to call it the casserole disorder, like disease. It's not the casserole disease.
Yeah, the
you
disease
know, like
where
where people bring you food, like if your loved one has cancer or
Right.
stuff like that. This is not that. This is, ooh, don't want to get too close because it might infect me. I have no clue, but it felt very lonely
Yeah.
when our daughter was diagnosed, and then, well, of course, the pandemic didn't help. And then, come 5 years after this, I mean,
Right.
we have worked so hard to keep her alive.
Yeah.
And that it's really even difficult to talk about that because I don't even think that she realizes that living in the shadows is what keeps the disease alive.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that just speaking out about it is going to be hard for her because this disease loves to live in the shadows, just like alcoholism,
Yeah,
just like any
absolutely.
addiction that you have loves to live in the shadows and hide. But for our sake and what we've been going through, we had to come to this realization that she can die and we have no control over that. And I didn't want to lose you in the process of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because our relationship is the first and foremost. And our kids are very important, don't get me wrong. And we had no control over this. We
Right.
don't have control over the fact that so we grieved. We
Right.
grieved a crap ton of that. I was, we cried. I think, we cried a lot, and we went into a mourning period
Yeah.
on that front.
I mean, to put this into perspective, she's been hospitalized, emergency room countless times, hospitalized dozens of times, treatment centers,
Yeah.
Almost a dozen times. It's overwhelming, and nobody does. I mean, very few people know what they're doing in this world.
Yeah.
And yeah, it is something that it's so profound the way that you said that it lives in the shadows. And what's made that worse is that it's still stigmatized and not a very public thing that is talked about or wanting to, or there's no task forces wanting to help with this problem, but it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere. And I mean, you yourself are talking about this, dealing with it at both ends with yourself at the beginning of your life, and now, right now, when you in your life, you're dealing with it with our daughter. We're dealing with that,
Yeah.
and so living it from both perspectives. I mean, that has to be overwhelming.
It is, and I know a lot of people want to point the finger at social media as the cause of it,
Right.
and it's not the cause of it. It's a brain disorder.
Mm-hmm.
But does it exacerbate it? Hell yeah, it exacerbates it. Just like the fat-free craze out of
Right.
1990, whatever, exacerbated my disorder. And it's very triggering. And people are like, well, it's all about control, and just eating is the solution. So why don't, like, that's it. It's so not understood,
Yeah.
and it's really hard to because it's so not understood. Like, it's so hard for people to want to help when
Yeah.
you're like this. And for other parents out there who may have a child who's going through this, or a loved one that's going through this, please, like, I don't mind, reach out to me. I have a lot of resources and a lot of understanding of and support. If you need support, I am 100% here for those people, because it sucks to be alone in this.
It does. Yeah.
Like,
We'll be Team Casserole, even if we don't send casserole
team
to your house.
casserole. That's great, because you know what helped is a lot of jokes, like a lot of humor has helped me immensely through this period of time, this hardship that we are going through.
Yeah.
And then she's going through, and I had mentioned that to her today, is you have to find some sort of joy, some sort of, like, some way to laugh, because it's that important for you.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Humor. Humor is a saving grace on that front.
Yes. Thank
Yeah.
you.
So kind of so I might have cut you off there as far as with my passionate rage out against but you were kind of talking, I think, about how that whole experience with regard to those health issues and everything kind of shifted our relationship to, and how that transformed into this next phase that you're in life. And where are you now? Like, where are you headed? What are you excited about? What's this new blossoming butterfly that is Marie?
Oh, that is so. I like how you put that.
Yeah.
For me personally, I still feel in my heart that helping people and doing stuff like this in the podcast and helping other people who could be going through similar situations that we've gone through, and also trying to build something for themselves and have a significant other in that regard of the process of how life gets hard. And especially with children, especially with work, that you don't feel connected with your loved one, and how important that is, that process, that support for one another is so vital to everything else that you can do in your life. That's what is my passion, is to build this, what we have together, that we renewed each other in a way that I never thought was possible, of being together and connecting in ways like this, even this right now, of learning new things about each other in different levels. And that's how important, how good it feels inside, that I want to help other people do the same thing.
Yeah.
It's so great to have a 10 out of 10 relationship, or like 20 out of 10 relationship with you.
Right.
Because I know we have not always been that way.
Right.
And it has been difficult. And I know that people are going through similar things, and bringing light into the shadow it's important.
Yeah.
Because if you cannot look at it, you're not going to be able to change it.
Yeah.
So doing that together and being able to support one another makes it so much easier for us to, not easier, what is the word? Like, I feel more strength to face other things in life.
Right.
If we're align together and we have that connection with each other.
Yeah.
So,
And what I'm hearing too here, and is it safe to say that it's not a 10 out of 10 relationship is not an absence of conflict. It's not an absence of challenge. It's not an absence of difficulty, but it is finding that partner that you can almost, go through that conflict, go through that challenge in a healthy and safe way. That the psychological safety exists, that there's still play in the element of that. It all goes back to the Spark framework. That we're creating that psychological safety, that play. We have the alignment through that. We have the rituals that help us to maintain that alignment. And we're constantly building the kindling around it to keep that fire going. We're prioritizing it. It's a lot of work, but the work is worth it. And it's effective because we know that we're the partners that we're working on for that, because we have that alignment. I mean, is it safe to say that that's the case? Like that 10 out of 10 relationships will involve challenge and conflict, and we embrace it.
yes, because we understand that discomfort, that's where the growth happens.
Yeah.
And how important that is. And doing these meetings every week. And I said this to you earlier. I was like, look how fast we're going through these issues. A lot faster than we did, say, a year ago.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that we're not getting we don't have any more we don't have resentment anymore,
Right.
because of the fact that we've worked through issues. First of all, there's no resentment, because resentment can be the killer in a relationship.
Resentment is just silent issues left in the dark. That's what
Yes.
resentment is.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, and but it builds up this layer of hatred around it, and fear and anger.
Yeah.
And it's encased itself into something that it's harder to penetrate if you do not work through your issues every single week and flex. It's kind of like, and it's also flexing that muscle. It's flexing the ability to have these conflicts, resolve them quickly. In the beginning, it was harder. It was discomfort. It was like, oh, I don't want to do this. I don't
Right.
want to talk about this. This is too hard to talk about it. Even sex, talking about that is like, oh, this feels so uncomfortable. But
Yeah.
now we're so much more open, and we have these conversations that, do we have a tendency to escalate it? Yes, but we understand that now, and how each one of us has that conversation about like what it means.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
And you said penetrate.
You're such a 12-year-old boy.
I am a 12-year-old. That's okay. That's why you love me. But, no, I think on that note, I think that we'll land the plane here, because I think that the whole idea of, we started on this idea that discomfort is the path to growth, and that's where we kind of circled around. That's where we're ending up, and our lives have been immersed in this discomfort.
Yeah.
But it's also been immersed in a wonderful growth that has led us to a relationship that is powerful. That in any other set of circumstances, if we didn't implement the tools and the resources and let go of the things we couldn't control, like you said, and grow things through the things that we could, and take control of the things that we could. If we didn't do that, we would have been divorced a long time ago.
Yeah.
We would have immersed ourselves in that misery, because we would have wanted to stay the person that we once were. But the reason that we're here today is because we embrace that idea of growth through discomfort.
Yeah.
And I think
agree.
that's how, correct me if I'm wrong, that's how we grow. And that's how, so any final thoughts, final words of wisdom for our audience out there before we close it out?
Go out there and get uncomfortable.
There you go.
Yeah. Just like that.
Just like that. Just like that, get uncomfortable. It's not like life has to throw you hard things. Just go out there and find that discomfort.
What is the quote?
What's
about
what quote?
Uncomfortable, going out there and doing discomfort every day?
I think there was an
Eleanor?
Eleanor Roosevelt quote that says do one thing that scares you every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do that.
Do that. That'll build the
Do that
muscle.
scares you.
Build the muscle, and do that with your spouse. Maybe not physically uncomfortable. Maybe. I don't know. Not going to yuck any
Uncomfortable
yums.
or
Not going to yuck any
pain.
yums. Yeah. But but just do those uncomfortable things, and that's the path to growth. You guys know this as entrepreneurs. You do it in your business. If you're growing a business, you know that. Your relationship requires that as well. It requires this level of candor. It requires this level of discomfort, and it requires that you just do that with courage.
Yeah.
Bring it into your relationship. Treat your relationship like a business. And I just want to thank you all for listening to this episode. If you like this episode and you feel like you got something out of Marie's story, if you feel like you're
Thumbs
called
up.
to, you're called to, of course, rate this episode, like this episode, subscribe to the show, share it with a friend so that somebody else might hear this. And of course, with anything that Marie brought up today, feel free to reach out and find those resources. And know that there's support out there for those kinds of things that related to eating disorders, relating to alcoholism, relating to any sort of addiction. There's resources out there for help. So find those and do that. But I want to thank you for listening to this show. Again, if you like it, subscribe, share it with a friend. We really appreciate your support in getting the word out there to help entrepreneurial couples make their good relationships great. And we will see you next time.